progressing through the Robert Johnson illustration.
We got the inks done, so it's time to color. So we got to.
Yeah, it's looking really good.
Thanks.
The tree on the left there, the empty thing looks great. I mean, it's just a tree, but hey.
The hollowed out log.
The hollowed out log, yes.
All right.
I mean, it all looks good, but I don't know. I caught my eye.
Yeah.
All right, so this is our third podcast while you're working on this illustration.
No. That's just an update. I'm working on something new.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
because we had a really cool page go up this previous week.
Yeah. And now it's the next page. It's going to be a layers nightmare. But I did it to myself.
Well, sometimes that's the only way to do it, man.
Yeah. All right, so what are we talking about today?
We were talking about Marvel movies and rock music.
Yeah.
Or music used in Marvel movies and how great they are at it.
Yeah, the use of classic rock in Marvel movies.
Right.
So, going by chronological order, and you...
right, we were just talking before we got on that I happened to catch the very first Marvel Studios Iron Man 2008 on FX yesterday, and right off the bat was Back in Black, AC/DC.
Nice.
When Tony is riding in a little, military vehicle to the thing, and he's all cool and shit, and they're all envious of him, and then. So yeah, it was pretty cool. I was like, Mike, you're right on, man. I know your favorite band was right there from first minute of the Marvel movie. So.
Yeah, but I didn't know that, and also that movie used Iron Man, of course.
Right.
How could it not? Everybody knows that Black Sabbath, but I didn't get into Marvel movies until I'm sure I would have got into Marvel movies eventually. But I didn't start with Iron Man 1. I didn't believe it was going to be very good, judging from, the Hulk and some other things.
Really?
Yeah. So I skipped it. And then when Iron Man 2 came out, and it had the whole soundtrack was an AC/DC best of.
That's right.
I was like, I got to look into this.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So
you didn't hear all the good reviews of Iron Man 1 and then go watch it? You waited until Iron Man 2 before you watched Iron Man 1?
Yep. Because I didn't look comic book movies.
I mean, Iron Man 2 wasn't that good as far as the movies, comparatively speaking, but soundtrack wise.
But it is here's the thing though. Okay. Comic book movies up until Marvel did them right were hit and miss. I mean, and mostly miss.
Yeah.
But then when Iron Man 2, they had the whole soundtrack. I don't even think they used all those songs, but they did.
Right.
They did use "Shoot to Thrill," and then when they used the AC/DC song "War Machine." When Iron Man and War Machine, the character, were fighting a bunch of Iron Mans, I was like, wow, they're putting some thought into this.
Yeah, all right.
So that's what sold me on it. And then I went back and watched Iron Man 1. So yes, AC/DC, my favorite band in the world.
They probably have more tracks on the soundtracks than anybody.
Yeah, I don't think they used all the songs, but yeah, probably. I mean, yeah. So then, after that, I don't know if they used anything in Avengers. I couldn't really tell. But then there was Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
And they used a lot of soul and funk.
And golden 70s golden oldies, AM radio golden oldies, or whatever it is.
Disco, but they had some standouts. Spirit in the Sky.
Yep.
and Cherry Bomb by the Runaways.
Yeah.
So that, those were some standout ones for me. And then,
so you got a Spotify playlist. Let's just say that up front here. You got a Spotify playlist of 46 songs, and these are your favorite songs that were used in movies, or
yeah, my favorite songs, and not all of the songs that they used in movies. My favorite ones. So
not every single one, but the favorite. So
yeah,
gotcha. Okay. And are they in order or just kind of randomly in here?
they're random.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. So we will share the link to this Spotify playlist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean some of them. Well, we'll get to some other stuff later, but then moving on to Guardians 2, the one standout for me, and they had a lot of good songs in this one, like Brandy was like a one-hit wonder, I think, unless you know that there's a lot of Looking Glass hits that I've never heard of.
I don't, but I would say Guardians 2 is my favorite collection.
Yeah, I like
I mean,
the Sweet Fox on the Run.
I mean, just the opening scene of was it Mr. Blue Sky? Of
oh yeah,
favorite songs of all time, just sonically awesome, of ELO and little baby Groot dancing as they fight that giant thing. And then the use of The Chain by Fleetwood Mac.
Yes, The Chain.
Whatever. And I remember hearing they had to go through a lot of hoops to get permission from Fleetwood Mac to use that, and like Lindsey Buckingham and all them had to watch the scene and make sure they were okay with it before they would even let them use that. So
yeah,
that's pretty awesome. And then George Harrison's My Sweet Lord, when they got to the scene where they're going to Ego's planet and they're driving in and the little thing and all the little bubbles and stuff. I mean, that couldn't have been easy to pull off getting that song either from an ex-Beatle. So I thought that was right on.
No, from an ex-Beatles estate.
Well, that might have been easier. But.
Yeah. It's always easier to get it from the estate than it is the actual artist, I think.
So, like, Fleetwood Mac is alive, so it was harder to get to use The Chain than it was whatever else. Definitely than any of the Brandy or any of those 70s songs. But,
yeah.
Yeah, man, I actually bought Guardians, both of those soundtracks on iTunes to have in my collection.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
It's a good set of songs.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead.
Oh, let's see. So Spider-Man, I think it would be next.
Well, you're missing Thor, man.
No, I have Thor, but
okay.
I think chronologically, as the movies come out, Spider-Man was before Thor.
But not Marvel Cinematic Universe Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man Homecoming.
No, I mean, Thor was way before that.
Yeah, but Thor 1 and 2, I don't think had... unless you know that Thor...
Okay, right. Thor 3 is where it all comes together.
Yeah, that's where it all...
But I think that was before Homecoming, wasn't it?
Well, all right, let's talk about Thor. We'll talk about Thor. Immigrant Song.
Yeah! Our crossover favorite band, one of our favorite songs. Crossover favorite songs.
Yep. Led Zeppelin, Immigrant Song. And I say, I've always said this, if you're doing some kind of Viking media, you have to have that song in it.
Right. So you have to ask yourself, why did they not use it in Thor 1 or Thor 2? Because it's so hard to get Led Zeppelin to approve it.
Right.
So.
And it's probably super expensive.
From what I found on the internet on filmschoolrejects.com, Led Zeppelin is a notoriously finicky band when it comes to licensing their music And back in 2012, the LA Times ran a piece on the hoops the band would make filmmakers jump through just to use one of their songs in a film. According to the article, the license fee for a Led Zeppelin song often dips into the 7-figure range. The band may also ask for creative changes in how you make their music, such as Ben Affleck was asked to digitally alter a shot of a record in Argo so his character would be putting more record arm down on the right part of a record for the track. So not only do we have to pay for the song, we had to pay for the effect shot. So in other words, Zeppelin can make you crazy if you're wanting a song. So by this time, by Thor 3 coming along, Marvel had enough, notoriety and success that Zeppelin would have approved it. So, and obviously they had to do the whole scene in the opening scene of that movie where he's hanging by the chains upside down and fighting that big monster and show that to him. And that explains why it wasn't used before, but it was then.
Yeah,
so.
They still had to jump through a lot of hoops to get it.
Yeah, so I was always wondering that, but yet there was a lot of crappy comic book movies that did rip-offs of Immigrant Song riff that they used, Dun, 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 So
like
finally
what?
Somebody got it. Oh, like oh man, I can't remember.
Yeah.
The movie with the girls. Oh man, I can't remember. I'd have to.
Well, it's hard, and AC/DC is hard too. And
yeah, well, it must be easier because they got so many.
Well, I think
on Iron Man.
I think AC/DC was like, look, just pay us this much, we'll give you a best of, and we'll put your name on it, put our name on it, we'll both make some money.
Right.
But I've always heard that AC/DC was hard to get license for, and it was hard for Spotify to get them to stream. They were the last biggest band for Spotify to get streaming rights to.
Really?
Yeah. And that's when I joined Spotify, like as a paying member. when they got AC/DC. All right. So yeah, Immigrant Song. That's a smart move because if you're making a movie or whatever about Vikings, you gotta have like the ultimate Viking song in it.
Yeah, man. So it took them 2 movies to get to it.
But they got it.
They finally got it.
Well, it didn't take them 2 movies. It took them a lot of movies.
It took them more movies than that, right?
Yeah.
And probably 7 years or whatever.
Yeah, from 2012 up until whenever, like 2016. When did 17?
Ragnarok. Yeah.
Yeah, Ragnarok.
Ragnarok.
So, all right, let's go back then to Spider-Man. It had some more modern. It had a few modern songs, but it did have Ramones.
Right.
Blitzkrieg Bop.
Right.
And
I think those are the most memorable songs from it, or the Ramones songs.
And that's a good because I mean all of the Marvel characters are supposedly based in New York, but I think like in the Avengers movies, they're all kind of based around Washington D.C., Virginia, that area.
Right.
But Spider-Man is totally New York, and they had a totally New York band represented.
That's a great point, man.
And
I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah. And then they had some like other ones I liked. Can't You Hear Me Knocking by the Rolling Stones. So like I said before, whenever I said like, oh yeah, War Machine for Iron Man 2. I think they put some thought into that. They're like, what can we put in to represent New York? Like Spider-Man represents New York.
That's a great point.
Thanks. So then, Avengers 3, they don't really have. I don't think they had much music in it, but it had that Spinner song, Rubber Band Man, and that's just a...
Well, that's because those were the Guardian scenes.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was just like an awesome...
Yeah. That was an awesome little scene.
I think it was this awesome scene that came up after like something that was really tense.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but I think that's what they did.
Yep. Rubber.
Yeah, Rubber Band, and that not a rock song, but a classic song, and soul funk kind of thing.
Right.
Motown. So let's see. Now we already talked about Thor, so we get to Captain Marvel.
We get in the 90s.
Yeah, and the 90s are now classic rock.
Gosh, pretty much so, huh?
I think so. I mean,
yeah.
What's the radio station in Atlanta?
I have no idea.
100.5. The classic rock station. Anyway, yeah, they played 90 songs in the classic rock station, so the 90s are officially classic rock. And that had some very 90s representational songs like Whole Celebrity Skin.
Yeah.
Garbage, Only Happy.
Elastica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elastica, Nirvana, Come As You Are.
And she wore the t-shirts for a lot of them.
Yeah. And
so let me ask you this. Do you think they were just trying too hard in that one to be like Guardians?
Nope.
Nah?
Nope, because...
All right, I do.
Well, okay. Well, how can you
trying too hard to be cool? And okay, what else can we do? James Gunn already did all the 70s. Let's do the 90s and wear the t-shirts and play the music.
Hold on. First, okay, before we talk about that, they also had some older songs. Lita Ford's Kiss Me Deadly.
Yeah, all right.
Heart, Crazy on You. And those, like, I think were 80s songs. So, I'm pretty sure Lita Ford was an 80s song.
Yeah,
so
late 80s probably.
I think what they were doing, like, and I might be reading too much into this, but I think what they were doing was they were crossing over from the 70s to the 80s and then into the 90s with the Captain Marvel songs. And Guardians of the Galaxy isn't based in the 70s. It's based in the present. But Captain Marvel was based in the 90s.
So they get away with it.
So they, yeah, I mean, I don't know if you, I think they were being thoughtful about what songs would they play in the 90s. Because those are all the songs that I was listening to in the 90s.
Yeah.
So I think they were, and I might be reading too much into it, but I think they were being thoughtful one more time. Maybe not though. And then the last one on the list, Avengers 4, had a deep cut. I think it was deep cut. Steppenwolf's Hey Lottie Mama. Hey Lottie Mama.
Really?
Yeah.
Where was that?
I don't know.
Not Infinity War. What was this last one?
Yeah,
That's the name of it?
Infinity War.
The Endgame.
Endgame, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Infinity.
That was in there?
Yeah, it was somewhere. I mean,
yeah. All right.
According to like the internet, I can't remember. I mean, it's been a while since I saw that.
Well, you need to go see it again so it beats Avatar.
Okay. Doesn't Disney own? No, yeah, Disney owns Avatar now, so it doesn't matter.
Well, they're trying.
They own Fox. Yeah. They own Fox.
Yeah.
So they have an Avatar. Now they'll have a Marvel Avatar crossover. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. But so my question is, looking back on this list and thinking back over 10 years of Marvel movies, why do they use all these classic rock songs and not contemporary music? And in some cases, some movies they did use contemporary music, like Black Panther.
Right. Okay, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, which is more hip hop based and current.
Okay. So, do you have a theory on the answer to your question? Do you have a theory on the answer to your query?
Well, yeah, I do. I think that they use the classic rock songs because those were the songs they listened to when they grew up reading Marvel comics. And
I agree 100%. Yep.
If I base their like love of Marvel comics on my love of Marvel comics, then it would be early 80s to mid 90s would be like the golden age of Marvel comics for me. And those are the songs that I would have been listening to when I was reading those comics. I mean,
interesting. So you're really getting granular there. Okay.
Well, I mean, I can't. I don't know why they would use the classic rock.
So, well, plus they just work. So.
Well, I mean, they do work, but
how old is Jon Favreau? I wonder.
Old as us.
Yeah, so like he listened to AC/DC when he was a teenager.
Yeah.
And it just happened to work out perfectly for the first and second Iron Man movies. So he put it in there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he knew War Machine, the character, he knew War Machine, the song. And he was like, let's do a whole bunch of AC/DC.
He's actually older than me by 2 years. Yeah, all right. There you go, man. Proved point.
I mean, I don't know for sure, but
How old is James Gunn? Let's see. Dang, James Gunn is the same age as Jon Favreau. Born in 1966. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
That he would have been hearing all those 70s AM hits at that time.
Wow. While he was reading Marvel comics.
Right, just as we were.
Yeah.
Well, you're a little bit younger, but yeah, as definitely as I was. And they're 2 years older than me.
So,
wow.
I think they're... Okay. And also, like, you have... I think there's that aspect, for sure. And then there's another aspect maybe nobody picked up on, or maybe it was, like, subconscious. And I don't even know, maybe I'm just making stuff up. But I've always liked Marvel better than DC. And the reason I like Marvel better than DC is because Spider-Man, he has to fight Dr. Octopus and then get to class on time.
Yeah.
They're all the characters are everyman characters, and they listen to everyman music. So they they play like everyman music in the movies because that's probably what those characters would listen to. I don't know what DC characters would listen to, but I can't relate to Superman, and I probably wouldn't like what he listened to.
He was probably listening to adult contemporary.
I can't relate to Batman. I mean, I like Batman, but I can't relate to like all his angstiness. So I don't know what he would listen to. But you know what? I could probably like go down just walk down the street and have a beer with Spider-Man, and we listen to, or have a beer with Tony Stark and listen to some AC/DC, and we both rock out.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they meant to do that. I don't know if that's even like an issue, but to me, that's like a part of it. and their age and what
Right.
they were listening to when they were reading those comics.
Ah, man, you're onto something there. That's a great theory.
Thanks.
I love it. I would probably, if I was producing those movies, do the same. If you can get away with it.
Yeah.
All right. That brings me to a good question.
Okay.
What Atomsplit song would be great for a movie? For a Marvel movie? Or just a comic book movie? Even though we're half comic book based. And I thought about this today, and the only thing I could come up with was the opening track off Microstar, Stop a Second, that would sound really, really awesome in a movie theater, because the sound is always so awesome in movie theaters. So that's what I came up with.
All right.
So I'm going to play that.
Okay, sounds good.
Because I think we haven't played a song in the last two. While you continue on your
drawing.
Page.
Yep.
Drawing. All right. So this has like multiple guitar layers and multiple vocal layers.
Okay.
Which just makes a big ass mix. I remember listening to it in the studio and wow, this is just huge. So one of the kind of a deep cut, but yet it was the opening cut. Here we go.
Seconds of the world. Are
All right.
All right.
So, you know, a good, like, credits song or very opening song?
Yeah.
Not necessarily like a middle of the movie kind of song, but, you know, one of the other, opening or ending, I think.
Yeah, like, I can see that, them playing that where, like, if it was Spider-Man, he would be, like, swinging through the city,
Yeah.
playing that song.
Yeah. Or they're flying through space.
Yeah. And then when the song ends, it's like when the first, like, conflicts begins.
Right. All right.
But I thought of something while we were playing the music. Marvel Phase, what is it? 3 or 2?
I think we're finishing up phase 3, about to go into phase 4.
Yeah, Spider-Man is the last of phase whatever we're currently in.
Yeah.
Are they going to keep it up?
The music?
Yeah.
They're going to run out of songs.
I
don't know.
I mean,
Right.
well, I mean, so they went into the 90s. Are they going to, like, do some 80s? I mean, they hadn't even touched Guns N' Roses yet.
I bet Guns N' Roses wants a pretty penny to use their songs.
It can't be prettier than
Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like Disney doesn't have the money to do whatever.
Well, that's true. Now they can pretty much do whatever.
I just wonder if it's going to continue. Are they going to?
I mean, you got a Guardians 3 coming eventually, so they'll probably dip into mid 70s. Maybe we'll get into the Eagles or something. Who knows?
Oh yeah, the Eagles. That'd be good. You know.
Yeah.
So, and I have to say also. I mean, it was. Yeah, I know this is controversial, but I'm glad that Marvel came to their senses and rehired James Gunn to get back in there and finish that thing right. If it's gonna finish. Yeah. People say dumb things. It's dumb to put things on the internet, but
he said some stupid stuff, but yeah, I agree. He's the best man for that job by far.
Yeah.
So why mess it up? Totally agree.
So I guess that's it.
All right, man. Well, that's an excellent topic with some good insights.
Yeah, it had two Atomsplit's most important things: rock and comics.
And music. Yeah. All right, man.
All right. Well.